Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. This series, I am once again joined by my wonderful co-host, that darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are sharing our experience reading The Way of Kings for the first time. Each episode, we will summarize what we've read and discuss the experience along the way.
This is Storming the Archives, The Way of Kings, and today we discuss Chapter 33.
Chapter 33.
Sematics. Chapter 33. Sematics. Shalon walks through the Palanaeum. She laments that while there are many talented scholars, they feel incomplete, lacking expertise in one area or another, while excelling in the rest. She abandons her Parshman servant so that she can study her paintings of Yasna using the Soulcaster. She hopes to learn either how to fix it or use it. Taking out her father's Soulcaster, she notes that even though it had been repaired, it remained non-functional. Yasna had sent her to grab a political book, but Shalon takes the opportunity to sneak a look at the book Yasna had been reading previously. The book is a collection of children's stories, mostly involving Voidbringers. Shalon thinks to herself that the book would have been better off forgotten, in contrast to the title, Shadows Remembered. Shalon returns to the alcove where she's surprised to see Brother Kabsal. He claims to have brought Yasna a gift of bread and jam. He's made a habit of bringing jam despite knowing Yasna hates it. He knows Shalon likes jam. They discuss what one's taste for food implies about their personality. The two flirt with each other. Shalon claims to be spontaneous, sometimes, and to thrive on charcoal. Kabsal claims some comparisons are meaningless because all things are made by the Almighty. Shalon says that her studies have become boring, though later claims to be hyperbolic. The conversation turns to Yasna's heresy. Kabsal is concerned Yasna will try to convert Shalon. He implies something concerning about a previous ward of Yasna's. He then tries to convince Shalon to switch devotaries. To do so is uncommon, but not unheard of. It's not well thought of for Ardents to try and convert people away from their devotaries. Kabsal laments that the devotaries seem to have failed Yasna, that many of them encourage leaving scholarship to the Ardents. He wishes he could get her to see the beauty of his devotary's doctrine. He wants to be the one to convince Yasna to join a devotary. He seeks distinction even though he knows he shouldn't. Kabsal claims to have evidence the Almighty exists. He shows Shalon pictures of patterns. They resemble the design of several cities. He then sprinkles sand on a metal sheet and demonstrates through vibrations how the sand takes the same shapes as the designs in the cities. Sematics. He then cites their very language, glyphs, and the alphabet as being symmetrical. Shalon finds Kabsal's insistence on showing his proof both touching and annoying. Yasna returns in a brusque manner. She asks if Kabsal's plate can reproduce a pattern for Urathiru. Kabsal is shocked Yasna already knows about sematics. She insults Kabsal, who then leaves. She asks Shalon if Kabsal has convinced her to try and steal her Soulcaster, something that unnerves Shalon. Yasna insists Kabsal is not interested in Shalon. Shalon thinks that is very arrogant of her, to which she responds, "It's only arrogant if she's wrong." Before we even get to the epigraph, we get some nice art, which we learn about in the chapter.
Yes, we do.
Notes.
These are notes by Kabsal, the scholar. Kabsal. Yeah, it's written at the bottom.
And they are designs and geographies of 4 major cities.
Mm-hmm.
Very neat.
They look very patterned, very pretty, very mandala-y.
Especially as we get into the chapter and we learn about specifically what his beliefs are, I made a connection between what he's observing and the magic system in Elantris with Aeon Door. Did you notice that?
Yeah. The shape and the earth.
Yeah.
Magic being... Not that there's a magic system here that works. I don't know how that works, but just the shape of the earth mattering.
Yeah.
And being somehow divine.
And the glyphs and the patterns used to unlock special powers.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, shall we handle the epigraph?
Let's.
They changed, even as we fought them. Like shadows they were, that can transform as the flame dances. Never underestimate them because of what you first see. Purports to be a scrap collected from Talatin, a radiant of the Order of Stonewords. The source, Govlow's Incarnate, is generally held as reliable, though this is from a copied fragment of The Poem of the Seventh Morning, which has been lost. More notes
Right.
about Voidbringers?
So yeah, more notes, but yeah, and considering what we learn, like what Yasna's busy reading about, it's like these could be her notes. These are definitely hers, not
Oh,
Shalon's.
100%, yeah.
Mm.
So I think you and I are gonna fight this chapisode.
Okay.
For those who don't know, I write my notes in a Discord message with Kitty, and they're usually more like vague guidelines and thoughts for how we're going to proceed through the discussion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Kitty almost never writes her own notes in the Discord back to me.
Mm-hmm.
But she wrote a note before I even got mine down, and her note was, "Everything is about Yasna, everybody."
Yes. My main thing that irritated me was just Yasna at the end there. Just her character.
I need to express that this was the polar opposite of my experience with this chapter.
Okay.
And insofar as it pertains to this anecdote that I'm telling you, my very first note was, "And I took that personally," which was not in response to Kitty's message, but the line in my edition on page 625, "Shadows remembered," Shalon thought, "would have been better off forgotten." And I just thought to myself,
Mm-hmm.
first off, I hate this woman. I do not like Shalon anymore at all. This isn't the first time she's had a thought sort of like this. You
Yeah.
arrogant, you narcissistic, you short sighted woman.
Cow.
Thank you for saying it, Kitty. First off, do you have any idea how important mythologies and stories and folktales are? But oh my god,
She's got a lot to learn.
the narcissism here, I just, it bothered me
Well,
so
you know
much.
what? I took that in my stride. I took that in my stride, not like, oh, she's right. No, I had the same feelings of like she's ignorant, she's being short-sighted, she's being a bit petulant, she's being like a
Mhm.
child. She's just, oh well, I'm not interested in that, and I know how things work, and exactly what you mean with the arrogance and stuff. But I expect that from her. Like I expect that sort of petulance and whatever from her because I expect this journey for her to become a better thinker and all of that.
Yeah.
I expect her arc to be that she turns more towards how Yasna is, but the main thing I was annoyed with was just Yasna. I like her more,
I like Yasna so much
so
more.
I'm like, okay, Yasna. I don't like I don't like Yasna having blind spots that are. I want her to be more fully fledged. So I have higher expectations of her. So when she is being arrogant, I'm annoyed with her. Whereas with this, I can see the arrogance and I'm like, yeah, so
S-
I know
So
she's a
here's the
cow.
thing. I don't think she's wrong though. I don't like Cabsol either. I don't trust Cabsol. But before we get too far into that stuff, in parentheses after my note, and I took that personally because I love stories
Mhm.
and folk tales and so on, I wrote, "She did
Mhm.
not like condescension." And that was a line later on when she feels that Cabsol was a little condescending to her. And I'm like, woman, you were super condescending earlier.
You are so condescending. Yeah, she's condescending on the
Yeah,
regular.
like she was
No,
condescending to the ship
hypocritical.
person captain,
Yeah,
and her wit,
that the book
her
guy.
cruel wit.
Mm. Mm.
arrogance.
Yeah.
So I just thought that there was a delicious bit of irony right there, and I appreciated that. In addition to irony, sorry, I'm going to be a little all over the place with this chapter, I think. Additional irony in this chapter is that Cabsol has some very serious concerns, supposedly, that Yasna is going to try to convert Shalon, but then he himself goes and tries to convert Shalon.
Well, not really convert her, but
Get her to switch
to try
devotaries.
and yeah. I guess he is converting that way. Yeah. Hmm. But hey, well, I agree with you not trusting him because of especially what we get at the end, where it's like, has he tried to convince you to steal my Fabrial or whatever
Mm-hmm.
Soulcaster? And that obviously makes you go, oh shit, yeah, he does have different motives, and who knows? He did obviously maybe he tried that with the previous ward or something. I don't know, but so I understand, but I think he could like her anyway.
Yeah, possibly. He does allude to a mysterious exiting, I suppose you could say, of
Hmm.
a previous ward. I will say this also opens the door for Shalon to frame Cabsol for the broken Fabrial.
Yes. That's what I got excited for. I was like, "Cool." And you know what? Considering how much of a cow she is, I think she'll be fine doing that.
I don't know. She's gonna be crushing on him pretty hard. Although I don't think they can be together
Mm.
because he's an ardent.
I don't think she's crushing on him. I think she just likes that he likes her.
That would be in keeping
She
with her
doesn't care too
personality.
much for him. Yeah, it seems more like she likes that he likes her. It's not I don't feel her liking him like, "Ooh, he's so witty and she's so condescending about everything that he's doing. Like she notices that he's flirting with her and all of that, but she's not like, oh, there's no like notes of, oh, she liked when he smiled or she liked when he did this and she liked the way he thought.
She's
It's more just, yeah, I can play with this
she's
man.
the popular mean girl that has no clue that she's the popular mean girl. But yeah, I don't. After this chapter, I'm very wary of Capsol.
Hmm.
I I agree that it's coming off as very arrogant of Yesna, but I suspect it's not without good reason. If she's wrong, it's not
Yeah,
without good reason.
yeah, I would rather be cautious about that anyway. And I found it is very self-serving for her to, just make Shalon not care about this guy. But then again, she could also have this insight and notice that insight into Shalon that she just likes that he likes her. It's not a real thing that she's getting in the way of.
Hmm.
She's not she's not making it about her because she's jealous or something like that. I didn't get that. It's just that I thought she was just a bit blind about it, but I think you're all right. That doesn't take away that Capsule is a threat
Yeah,
and has other motives. That doesn't take it away. So you know what? I'm not as mad as I was before because yeah, I'm happy that she is at least wary of him.
cool. Ardents can eat feminine food.
But yeah, okay. So they blur lines. These the Ardents.
Hmm. Note
Uh,
that she did not feel, because we were talking about her arrogance, she didn't feel uncomfortable by the Ardent eating feminine food, but you think back to her on the ship and she was very uncomfortable when the captain read. So,
mhm.
interesting little thing there.
Maybe she does like him. Hmm.
Hmm. So there was a very, very minor bit of repetitive Sanderson in this chapter. I don't say as a pejorative, just there was another passage of Shalon looking at the Parshmen and thinking, gosh, are they really fighting out on the Shattered Plains? These Parshendi, are they really different? And we've had it's not a problem, and it's been a little while I think since. I'm just noting
Mhm.
it's very similar in terms of passage structure to previous time when she was thinking about the Parshman and the Parshendi, and Kaladin as well. I'm sure it's going to serve a purpose, though. I hear you, Mr. Sanderson.
Yeah, it's just a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep it in mind.
The semantics of it. We talked about it a little
Mm-hmm.
bit before the epigraph, but it's noteworthy. It reminds me of Aeon Dor. What do you think of it?
It reminded me of that, but I did in the in world here. It's kind of like it's asking you to believe in you still have to believe in this you have to it's asking you to interpret this evidence in a certain way
Hmm.
that requires faith.
Gosh.
Whereas it could just be the way nature is or something like that. It's the intelligent design
Yeah,
argument, basically.
sure. And yeah, it's like knowing how the human eye works is incredible, but it's not
Proof of
necessarily
God.
proof. And I was thinking to myself a little bit
Mm,
this week, I find it humorous that Teravangian, whom Shalon thinks of as a dullard, arrogantly,
mhm,
did not make his arguments as strong as he might have. And yet I found his arguments to be much better than Cabsol's. And maybe it's that
mhm.
Cabsol overreached in the assertion that he had definitive proof.
Proof. Yeah.
But nevertheless, again, I found Teravangian to be more convincing than Capsule.
Mhm. The fact that he's when you're saying I've got proof, you're being part of their argument. You're saying I need to find the proof, so I'm proving it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you've accepted a part of their argument already by going to find proof.
Yeah. Do you think religion
So
can
and you've
exist
yeah.
with proof? Because proof presumably removes the need for faith.
Yeah, it there can be proof for major things, I suppose, but when it comes to the meaning of things that happened and
I'm trying to
that sort of
imagine now
thing,
what a religion would be like without faith. A faithless
yeah.
religion. That could be an interesting prompt to write a
Mm,
short story about or
yeah.
something.
Do it.
Yeah, I'll work on it at some point. Maybe.
Write it down. Write it down. Well, it's in the recording, so. Mm.
Yeah.
I feel like it would naturally build on it would eventually build on there would faith would still have to come into it somehow. It would build because of humans. That's what I think. Like you would have proof, but eventually the core would be lost anyway because everything would be fabricated on top of it.
But it was a good chapter.
I would just like to lament
Hmm.
that, yeah, remember end of last chapter, I was like, oh, I hope we get another Kaladin, but yeah, clearly not. We just went back to Shalon.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm as irritated with Shalon as I was with Yasna. So thank you, Dorkus.
I am sorry.
We didn't fight though.
Wait a second. So you didn't think of Cabsol and Shalon's discussions as flirting, did you? Because I totally thought it was flirting.
I
You
did.
did. Okay.
No, I did, absolutely.
Okay.
But I was just thinking of her way, the way that she flirts with him. She's just having fun.
Okay.
I don't get a sense that she really likes him.
Gotcha.
She's gonna frame Capsule. I hope. I don't know. But it was quite funny when she's like, has he like the fact that she brought that up? Just oh, has he tried to convince you to steal it? It's like oh shit, she was just thinking about stealing it.
Holy shit. What if Cabsol steals it before Shalon gets to, and then she's double
Yeah,
stuck? And then what if it's found? What if the broken one is found on Shalon's belongings and they're like, this is it? How could you
you
steal it,
took it.
Shalon?
Yeah,
Oh, this could go
because we have
so
confirmation
many
that they look
ways.
exactly the
Mm-hmm.
same. Yeah, this could go so many ways. We have confirmation they look the same because that was something I was like, that's how do you pass the one off for the other? That's okay. So they all look the same. Cool. And yeah, just there was some at least I will say with Shalon of her like having a bit of she wants to just learn And actually, as much as she's being full of crap with her studies and arrogant and things like that, she does want to genuinely be a scholar, but oh no, she's got this grand theft Fabrial that she's got to work with.
Grand Theft
So,
Fabrial.
yeah. Mhm.
All right then.
Kaladin, next chapter, please.
Yes, please. I really want to know what's happening with him.
Or Dalinar.
Or
Yeah.
Dalinar, though I don't think he's in this segment.
Mm.
Anything else?
Like the video.
If you like. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to that Don Kitty if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel. At the time of recording, she's been kicking it into overdrive with her streams. She's also doing games on that Don Kitty Games. So do
Mhm.
that, because she doesn't have to be my co-host, and it's a very kind thing she does for me.
It's so much fun.
Good. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks. Bye.